my name is Nasko here at Academy FM, and in this video I'm going to show you how to do a pretty simple dubstep drop inside of FL Studio 12. Now, the very first thing we should start off with is the BPM, and usually dubstep is around 140 till 150, but I find 145 to be the sweet spot, especially for live performances. So we're going to start with 145. And there's a bunch of elements that go into the mixing and the process of the sound design and the elements you choose. But I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible here. So the first thing we're going to start off with is drums. And obviously you should be using dubstep kicks and drums. There's tons of sample packs out there, especially at Cymatics FM and Academy FM. You can find a ton of samples for that. Now, I've done some work for them, and so I'm going to be using some of the samples I had done for them. So I'm just going to pick a kick and a snare. Pick this kick. And this snare. All right. I'm just going to make a very simple pattern right here. Obviously, this whole genre is halftime, so just make sure that you're doing all your sort of sequences and arrangements in that matter. All right. Now you can probably tell I've got another element right here, which is called the sidechain. And that is just so to make sure that everything else that is playing right when the drums are playing, the kick and the snare, is getting ducked. So I'm just going to use the sidechain and put them down wherever I've got my drums playing. And I'm going to loop that whole thing. All right, and for the last part, I want it a bit different. I'm going to pick the cutting tool, and I'm just going to do something like this. Just a very cool little drum sequence we've got right here. All right. Let's just send these to two different mixer channels, and let's also go ahead and load in the cymbals now, which are also very important. And what I like to do is use cymbals that are sidechained and cymbals that are not sidechained, but that have sort of less transients going on. So I'm gonna just load in two cymbal loops I've done for them. Those are not cymbal loops. This one and this one. One of them, first of all, let's just assign them two different mixer channels. One of them I'm gonna directly sidechain. So I've just set up the sidechain channel right here with a fruity balance, and I'm just picking the mixer channel and sending it to the sidechain channel. And for the second one, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the transient processor from FL Studio, and I'm going to take away a lot of the attack from all the cymbals. So you can tell right here, you can see it just taking away all the sort of hits, which is very nice because we don't want them to sort of interfere with the drums. And for the other sample, cymbal loop, we're going to really turn down the volume right here. All right. Now for the kick and the snare, we're just going to process them really quick. For the kick, we're just going to add a limiter, take down the attack all the way so we've got no latency going on, and take it up like that. Now also, I want to go inside the sampler, and I'm going to turn on the normalize. I'm going to take it out a bit and take in the in knob a bit so we can sort of shape the sample a bit. Perfect. And let's go to the snare. Also use a limiter, take down the attack as well, and take up the gain. Now another really cool thing you could do, and also I'm just going to EQ this really quick because I can hear some low end. Another really cool thing you can do, also just don't mind if the snare is not clipping beyond 0 decibels. That's fine. We can fix that later. All right. We take these up a little bit. So I'm just going to add a EQ. Very nice. All right. Now let's go ahead and add the background up. Now, in dubstep, obviously, most of the time you're going to have something like F minor, G minor, G sharp minor. So a lot of minor scales. And we're going to be working with F minor. So I'm going to add a Serum. And I'm just going to do a quick arp progression right here. Or at least a little arp loop. And I'm going to actually... I'm going to do something like that. And I'm going to loop that. And I'm going to select all of it. Hold Control and press upper arrow up. Dope. All right, now let's go inside the Serum. Let's use envelope 2 on the level and take it down. Also do that for envelope 3 already and turn on the filter and put it on to the cutoff. Make it very tight. And now you can use envelope 2 on the mix and make something like that. You can turn up the unison, turn on oscillator B, and pick a square wave and do something like that. Alright, and now let's just go ahead and add a reverb. And we're going to use envelope 1 and take the mix all the way down and apply it to the envelope on the reverb. And let's do the same thing for the delay. And take the bandpass down a little bit. And turn on ping pong. Assign that to the mix channel level 5. Add a parametric EQ and just cut out the lows. And add some more highs. And let's also add some OTT because this genre relies a lot on compression. And send that to the sidechain channel and take it down a notch. And let's just put it down. Perfect. The next thing I want to add now is an offbeat plug, sort of. So we're going to add another Serum and we're going to do a little chord right here. So we're going to start with F, make it this long, and go 3 up and 7. Or 4. And do the same thing right here. And let's use another one down here. Make it a bit shorter, actually. No, just leave it this long. And push it 1 up. Whoops. 1 octave. And let's take up the unison and go to global and take down the width. Because Serum is very, very stereo heavy. So sometimes you want to take down the width in the global section just to make sure that it's not really fooling you too much. Let's use envelope 1 on, well, we can just use envelope 1 like that. Like that, perfect. Let's turn on some reverb, take down the mix a bit. And let's assign it to insert 6, add some low cut, maybe some highs as well, and an OTT. Take the time up all the way, take down the depth, and send that to the sidechain channel. And let's just put it down and play it like that. Take down the decay a bit. All right, great. Now let's add a background sweep. So we're just going to add another Serum. We're going to add a lot of unison and take the tune up a lot as well. Put LFO1 on the coarse pitch. Take it down to a bar and take down the output on the matrix. And let's make a very long note. And loop that. And let's take it up a couple of octaves. All right, and now let's turn on the reverb, turn up the width and the size, and let's put envelope 1 on the mix of this. Very nice. Now let's add an EQ and send it to the sidechain channel and take it down a lot. Just to have it kind of in the background. All right, now one more thing we're gonna add as the background stuff is a sort of crowd sound. And I know that in one of Cymatics packs, instead of the Jack U drums, volume 1, they have under the effects section in the various samples, they have this very nice crowd sample right here. So we're just gonna drag it in, and we're gonna click on stretch in the upper left upper corner of the playlist. And we're just gonna drag it to the left until we hit this part. And then we can just duplicate it, send it to a mixer channel that is not get assigned, and we're just going to add an EQ, do less of a steep curve, do it like that, send it to the sidechain channel, and take down the volume. So we've got all the basics down, and now we can go to the element section of the main drop part. So usually what we would want is an A. So this would be an A part, this would be the B part, sort of the response, another A part of the B part, and this would be a fill. This can also be part of the C part, but we're just going to make it part of the B part. So we're going to start with the A part, and the first thing we want to do is add a separate sub. So I'm going to add a Serum. And before I do anything, actually, I'm just going to rename it to sub and give it a different color so I know what really it is. And I'm just going to go ahead and just imagine a sort of drop arrangement. This a bit longer. All right. So this is going to be our first scroll right here. Then we're going to have an FM bass playing, another FM bass right here, and then another growl. Now let's select all of that and pitch it down to F2. And now we're going to do a cool little technique. We're going to go to analog basic shapes for the sub. We're going to go inside the wavetable editor. I'm going to get rid of this sawtooth wave right here. So we're going to go to add and remove. Current index, and then we're going to go to morph, spectral, process, normalize each. And now we can morph between the triangle wave and the sine wave. All right, and now we can put that on, say, insert 9. And we're just going to, first of all, add an OTT to really bring out those harmonics. And then we're going to add a limiter, take down the attack all the way. Make it really loud. Then we're going to add an EQ, turn off the HQ, the high quality oversampling, and get less steep. Turn this one off. Great. Perfect. And now send that to the sidechain channel and take it down a notch. We don't want it too loud. Oops, it's not playing anymore? What's going on? Oh, okay, I know why. Okay. Let's just put it down. And let's clone the pattern. Whoops. And let's imagine another arrangement. Okay, I'm going to make a very fast one right here. Like that. Perfect. And that's going to be our response. So that's going to be pattern 6. Then we're going to start off with pattern 5 again, pattern 6, and then we're going to have a fill right here. All right, so now this is going to be the sort of the sound design part of a dubstep drop. Now we're going to add Serum. Serum is really one of the top plugins you can use for this genre. You can also use Massive. You can still do some really cool sounds in there, but it's quite advanced. You can also obviously use presets or samples. Choose whatever you want to use. And I'm just going to make some sounds right here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the first pattern 5, and I'm just going to draw down the note. So this is going to be our first scroll. Then we're going to just clone the Serum. And this is going to be our FM bass. So you can see that we're getting shorter notes right here. So we're going to have to do some automations. And we're going to clone another Serum and put the second growl right here. But I actually kind of want to just do a variation of the first one, so I'm going to keep that one deleted for now. I'm going to send them to insert 10. We're just going to process them, all of them the same. We're going to add some OTT, some compressor. Whoops, not that one. I'm sorry. Do the compressor. I'm going to take up the time a bit, take down the depth a bit, take up the outgain, take down the threshold on the compressor, the ratio up, attack down a little bit, and the release down a little bit, and the gain up a bit. And then we're going to add an EQ, cut the lows, and add a wave shaper and just boost it. All right, so we're going to start off with the growl. And one really cool way to make growls is just use one of these growl wave tables from Cymatics. And we're going to add LFO1 to the... And we can also go inside the piano roll and just do the one section. I'm going to add an HP filter. Add some multiband compression and a bit more HP filter. And I'm also going to add some chorus, turn up the mix and change it to HP filter and take every single knob to the left. And we're going to use LFO2 and put it on delay 1, and we're just going to put it to that side. Now, another thing you can do is you can use the bend modes. They're quite helpful. You can also modulate them with the LFO. Okay, I got it. So that's going to be our first growl. Great. Let's add some hyperdimension. Take down the hyper and take the dimension up a bit. Just to have it a bit more well setting in the mix. And now we're going to do the FM bass. So we're going to pick one of the wavetables. Something with a lot of deeper harmonics would be very nice. Another really cool thing is what you can do is you can go inside the wavetable editor, go to multiband and process squarify it. That way you are always going to have a sort of FM-ish bass. Really like this one right here. And let's use LFO1 to change the wavetable position. Let's turn on oscillator B and pick a sine wave, turn it up 2 octaves. Take down the random all the way, so we always have the same sounding sound. And let's use FM from B, turn the level of the first oscillator, of the second oscillator. This is very standard sound designing right now. And let's also add some comb filter, which gives it a very cool metallic sound. Very nice. And let's add some of the resonance, and let's modulate some of the resonance with LFO1. And let's use an HP filter in the effects section, like that. Very nice. And let's also use the chorus the same way as we did in the growl. But let's do a little bit of a different. So then very cool already. Now let's add some hyperdimension. And now let's go ahead and move the rate a little bit of our LFO and put a macro on it. So we can automate the macro like that. And whoops. Right click, create automation clip, and we can make it faster whenever the fast notes are playing, like that. Very nice. So now it sounds like this. Oh, and make sure that this is also sidechained. You might want to add another multiband compressor on here as well. Maybe put the chorus after the multiband compressor and add a little bit more highs to the sound. And change the chorus a bit. Let's add some. You can go ahead and add another HP filter with the EQ right here. Very nice. Okay, and now let's do some pitch bend automation. So we're going to use the pitch bend. Just move it and right click on this icon. Click on create automation clip. Bam, bam. And let's do something like this. Let's see if we can do that. Ba, 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 ba. All right. Just like that. And we can use this again over here and this one as well. And I want to actually pitch it down a lot more. So I'm going to take down the negative pitch bend to -12. And let's also click on the key tracking. And we can also go to the matrix section and pick the pitch bend on the source. Go to the destination and pick filter cutoff and move it to around 2 maybe. Very nice. All right. Now I feel like the background sweep is a bit too loud still. And the drop sounds could be a little bit louder as well. So let's push it in the compressor first of all. Very nice. And then we're just gonna go ahead and clone the growl. Put another note at the end and change the LFO curve. Something like that, and let's also pitch it. So I kind of want to pitch it down. So let's do that as well. Again, this whole part we're doing right now is just really up to you. You can do whatever you want, and sound design and arrangement is really just a lot of practice and experience. And let's do this growl again. This one right here. And let's just repeat this one right here as well. Clone it. So you can use a similar sound again. And now let's do the fast notes. So let's just put them down like that. And turn up the comp filter a bit and turn up the rate. Alright, turn it up a bit more. And let's also do a pitch bend for that as well. So we can just go ahead and draw one right here. And let's make sure that this sounds a bit faster again. Well, we're in the wrong channel right now. Even faster. Alright, that's sounding pretty cool. We can also click on the BPM and just determine a perfect sort of speed. Alright, that sounds pretty cool. Let's use this part again. We've got right here for the pitch bend. Let's copy it over. And the beginning as well. So we can just copy that over as well. And let's use the growl again. So we can literally just cut up this part and just paste it right here and copy over the pitch bend automation. Now I want to switch up the main sound a bit because I feel like it sounds a bit too weak. That sounds a bit cooler. All right. And this sound could be a bit more interesting as well. So let's go inside the matrix again and let's add a bit more filter cutoff to this. Let's do 4. And right here, we're just going to end it with a progression we had earlier that could be anything in the intro, really, of sort of vocal sample. So what we're going to do right now is add another pattern, and we're just going to do a quick progression just to end this sort of part of the drop. So let's do a quick progression right here. So I've just added another Serum. Let's copy that whole thing over to our main sub and pitch it down a couple of octaves. So now we can also copy over, not copy over, but select this whole thing and pitch it down as well. Go inside the Serum patch, turn on the noise oscillator, turn on some distortion, distort it a bit, and turn on the multiband compressor. Great. let's clone that Serum patch and initialize it. Copy the MIDI information, pitch it up. And now let's do some chords. So we're just going to pick all of these and just going to duplicate them, and I'm just going to do some very simple chords. Great. Pitch them up a bit again. Now let's turn on oscillator B, turn on the unison on both, and turn 1 octave up, and use the multiband compressor again. And for the last part, we're going to add a melody. So let's just try something, and that might sound cool. All right, something like this. Let's see what it sounds like. Right, something like that sounds pretty cool. So let's go inside the Serum patch, turn up the unison again, turn on the detune a bit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add LFO1 to the chorus pitch. Go inside here, turn it to 1 type, and do an LFO curve like this. Turn it to envelope, turn up the rate to 1/8, and turn down the chorus pitch. And now let's add some reverb, and let's also add a multiband compressor. All right, and let's use LFO2 on the chorus pitch again, turn it up 16, and use the auxiliary source. It's going to be envelope 2, and take down the output a bit. And now with envelope 2, we can just sort of do a fade in. You can also use oscillator B, switch it up to a square wave, turn it up 1 octave, add some unison, and use the same thing on here. So switch it and do something like this again. And we're going to add all of these into the same mixer channel just to make sure that we've got them all in the same spot. And let's add some OTT, turn down the depth a bit just to sort of glue them together, and let's get rid of the low frequencies. And send that to the sidechain channel. And if we would go ahead and listen to this part, say, I would cut it right here, and I'm just going to duplicate this whole part. It would sound something like this. Whoops, get rid of that one. So we can literally just now use this last part. And this is just to sort of visualize what you would do in the context of a completely different track. So if you were to have this sort of progression in your intro, you could use this last part right here. Also, you want to make sure that if you have drop arrangements this fast, you can go ahead and make the sidechain a bit faster than usual, just to sort of compensate for the amount of drums you've got playing. So yeah, and for the mastering part, we can now add a fruity balance. take it down a notch. We can multiband compress it a bit, so we can add the fruity multiband compressor and do some different band settings. I'm going to change it to FIR. Take up the ratio of this one to 6 and this one to, whoops, that's not the ratio. Take this one up to 3.7 and this one, whoops, to 8. And the threshold is going to be around minus 10 decibels. So we can sort of, you can see on the red meters, if I go to the free balance and I push it, they start to work more. Also on the attacks, make sure that these are very short, just 20 milliseconds. And for the release, they can be at around 100 milliseconds. That should be fine. So we just want barely any compression going on. All right, nice. And now we can add a maximus. So we're going to go ahead and load up Fruity. I think it's called Maximus only, I think. Yeah. We're going to load up Maximus. We're going to go to the presets, default. And for the lows, first of all, turn them to mono. Great. We're going to turn off the compression. Actually, we're going to leave it on. And the peak is okay. Low cut should be at around 26 hertz. And let's switch the low frequency band to around 160 hertz. You can see that on the upper left corner. And let's push the pre amount. Great. For the mids and the highs, we're going to turn off the compression. And we're going to switch the high band all the way to the left. So it's at 16,000 hertz. And you can now go to the mids, solo them, and push it. Just so that it's above 0 decibels. And you can push it even more if you want to. Let's see how much we pushed it right here. We pushed it at around 12.6. So let's push it even further. And then now let's just copy over the volume, paste it to this band right here. And now let's go to the master and do a little trick right here. Now it's heavily compressing the master. Let's take down the release a bit. And what we're going to do is now we're going to turn up the threshold of the saturator just a tiny bit. So if we turn off the compression, you can still see it's now just saturating or soft clipping the master, but we want a bit of compression in there. So we're going to turn on the compressor again. We're going to take this right knob right here, this little point, and we're going to take it up all the way. That way it's not compressing anything, but the further we take this down, the more it starts compressing. So we want to find a nice mixture between 0 decibels and up here. I'm going to take this much compression, and then I'm just going to turn on the soft flipper. All right, and that's how you do a drop in FL Studio 12.